Today I fucked up by finding out about my boyfriend's webby secret. So my boyfriend has spent most of our relationship living, breathing, and existing for Spider-Man. He's known for being the Spider-Man guy. It's just a massive part of his personality. At first, I thought nothing of it, considering superheroes are a pretty universally liked thing, and categorized it as a harmless obsession. My boyfriend has been enthralled with the new Spider-Man game and can't wait to play it. I've been unable to snag a PS5 for a decent price, but you can bet I'll be the best girlfriend in the world when it's more readily available. He also wants to see the new movie that came out recently, but would rather keep us safe by waiting until the initial movie crowd dies down. I think a combination of these two things being just out of reach has sent him into overdrive. The fuck-up also wasn't exactly today, but has been ongoing. We live together and we're having some alone time, each playing a game and watching videos on our separate computers in our private spaces. We frequently bother one another throughout the day for hugs and kisses as needed, to recharge. I happened to be needing some affection and gently crept over to his desk to give a surprise kiss attack. He was watching gameplay of some Spider-Man game, just looking all cozy and cute. Then suddenly I noticed his arm moving rapidly back and forth. Now it's worth noting we have created a very sex-positive environment in our household of two, so when one of us wants to have a private hand party, it's never taken personally, and we never feel weird about it. I was expecting porn to be on his phone or one of his monitors, but no. Only Spider-Man, flinging himself from building to building. I was going to offer to help, but I'll admit I was so taken aback I just stood there for a moment, unsure of what to do. He noticed me eventually and stuffed his junk back into his pants while trying to look innocent, like I was his mom or something. He played it off at first, like he had just been hanging out and totally not beating his meat to the friendly neighborhood arachnid. I pressed, lightly, wanting to be of service, but he insisted he wasn't interested. I returned to my desk, and of course, he returned to his Tom Holland tribute. This may not seem so bad, but I must confess, I have the worst sense of humor. I spent the next few days dropping hints like, "Oh, look at this Spider-Man bodysuit. Wouldn't I look good in it? Do you think Spidey uses his webs for bondage play? Want a Spider-Man kiss me down under?" And a multitude of other filthy spider-related things. He didn't seem to catch on at all, and things proceeded as normal. We started to initiate sexy times this evening and I couldn't help myself. I kept thinking about him flashing bone to the fully clothed Peter Parker like some kind of sex-crazed, horny teenager who would lose it at the sight of Mary Jane's ankle. I began giggling while we were in the act, which isn't unusual for either of us, and couldn't keep it together. He paused for a moment and looked confused. I let slip, "I know I'm not made of polygons and pixels, but I'm glad you chose me over Spidey tonight." I watched the gears turn in his head as he processed the last week of spider-based humor I had thrown at him. Every webby transgression now laid bare. He couldn't get over how embarrassing it was. We spent the evening laughing about it together, but evidently he couldn't stop long enough to keep it up, so sexy time has been put on hold until further notice while he repairs his ego. Too long did not read. My boyfriend, obsessed with Spider-Man, jerks off to gameplay from the upcoming game, and I accidentally walk in on him. It leads to a week of bad spider puns and ruined sex. I know this isn't particularly horrible, but I hope some of you get a wholesome laugh out of it, while I attempt to look at my boyfriend as anything other than a spider lover. Edit. Oh God, I've never spoken to so many people in my life. Hi everyone. To clear some things up. Yes, he is bisexual. Also remove some identifying info as this has gotten way bigger than expected. He is fine, happy, and we are great. We had a talk about it and as a lot of comments have said he was just multitasking. Our relationship is nothing but us goofing on each other, and he has had similar reactions to my extracurricular activities. We like to laugh and have fun, especially when we're having fun. If you've never laughed yourself out of a boner or lady boner, are you really in love? Thanks for those that reached out with tips on how to get a PS5. Here's hoping. Also, I am definitely buying a Spidey suit for him. Closing parenthesis. Jerks off to gameplay? Now that's a dedicated gamer. GIF. Giphy, XTITNHVXHHXOTCDMXO. They sell those spandex bodysuits on Amazon for about $40. Standard Spidey, the girl one from the animated movie, tons of variations. Just sayin'. Honest moment. Some men don't really need porn to get off. The best porn is all up in the mind. Sometimes in the past I have busted one out while a screen is on, and the thought has crossed my mind a few times. Sometimes I think it's funny that if someone walked in they would think I'm masturbating to that gardening show or whatever else is on the screen. Truth is, the screen is just on and my mind is working on its own. Just a thought, pun intended. Spider-Man do be looking good in those tight smirk. Seeing Spider-Man gives him a Peter tingle. You have to ask him more about this. Are you sure he wasn't watching porn and alt-tabbed to whatever was in the background? Is he completely straight? If he's into Spider-Man, why wouldn't he be into you dressing up in the suit? TBH, you should just go for the power move at this point and buy a Superman costume. Today I fucked up by creating a new tab on my best friend's phone. Last Friday, my best friend Mike and I were working on a project together. I forgot my phone that day, so I asked him if I could borrow his phone to look something up. I go on Safari and I press the tab button so I could create a new tab. Of course, doing this also shows the tabs that are currently open. Unfortunately, this meant that I would see something confidential. I saw a tab open of gay furry porn. Prior to this I did not know he was gay or a furry. From the shocked and disgusted look on my face, Mike realized what was happening and started crying and begging me to not say anything. After the class period ended, I did not see him for the rest of the day. I tried messaging him on Discord asking if he is okay, but he has not responded. Too long did not read. Pressed on the tab button on my best friend's phone so I could create a new tab and look something up, and I found out he was into gay furry porn. Call him, text him, go to him and tell him you don't care. If you're a true friend, that is, he needs to know that it's okay and not everyone will judge him. That's why porn is opened in the incognito tabs, as those are on a separate screen. Or just don't leave porn tabs open. Well, username checks out. Wait. Does looking at gay furry porn mean that someone's gay and or furry? Asking for a friend. Having a tab with gay furry porn open does neither necessarily make you gay nor furry. Just saying. Damn, this guy must be freaking the fuck out. He may not be responding, but I guarantee he's reading them. He's really scared. You need to let him know you're there for him and you won't tell anyone. Try to be as supportive as you can and keep telling him that until he responds. This is advice coming from a closeted gay furry BTW. When I was in undergrad, almost 20 years ago, I found that my roommate was into furries, and I didn't handle it well. I mocked him, and joined in on others mocking him, and was just cruel. I threw away a friendship of years just to join in on some cruelty when I was a stupid child, and I regret my behavior when I think about it to this day. I did run into him a couple of years later and tried to apologize, but I didn't deserve the kindness he showed me in even listening to my apology. You have a responsibility to let this dude know you won. Accept him as he is, with no conditions tied to that. 2. That you will guard his secret, and 3. You need to promise to yourself that you're going to defend this dude if it ever comes up, out among others. It's fine as long as it's not 5 Nights at Freddy porn. Today I fucked up by spending £20 on a menstrual cup that put me in hospital over the new year. Happened over the last 2 days. I'm a transgender man, and on New Year's Eve I get my period while I'm at work. I bopped down to the pharmacy on my morning break to get tampons, when I see a small section for menstrual cups, which were £20 each. What the hell, I thought. New year, I should be more eco-friendly. Let's invest. Putting it in was sore but not too bad, and honestly it's much more comfortable than a tampon. I'm kind of liking it at this point, so I leave it in until I leave my shift and get home. It's New Year's Eve and I have plans involving curry and whiskey, but I decide I should empty my cup, since I might struggle to do it after whiskey. And that's where the issue started. 3 hours of squatting, hitching my leg up, trying the spoon method, waggling it around, and having my fingers pretty much covered in blood. I come to the conclusion that it's too high up and I can't break the seal to remove it. God's fucking damn it. I tragically live on my own without a nice boyfriend to fish it out, so I opt to wait until tomorrow and go to the next best location, A&E. I end up not drinking my whiskey, and instead slept through the new year and tried not to panic. New Year's Day, I catch a taxi to the local A&E, and get checked in around 7 a.m. It's now about 24 hours since I put the cup in, but after a few hours I speak to triage and they reassure me they're going to do their best to get it out for me. Problem is, I have had severe vaginismus, vaginal muscle spasms, since I was a teen, and I've never been able to have anything bigger than my tiny fingers inside me. You can guess how this goes. Attempt number 1, the emergency doc and the senior emergency doc, both very nice, try and use a speculum to retrieve it. I try and bear it as much as I can, but in the end I cannot stand the pain. Cup is not removed. Attempt number 2. They call the gyno down from upstairs, who was very lovely, and he tries to reach it with his fingers. He can't even get 2 inches into me without me being in pain. Cup is not removed. Attempt number 3. I'm given gas and air, and the gyno tries again to reach the cup. It feels like I'm being torn in two, and I end up sobbing all over the chaperone and the gyno. Cup is not removed. The gyno speaks with the senior gyno at this point, and gives me 2 options: sedation or general anesthetic. I've had top surgery under general anesthetic, so I opt for that. Attempt 4 # They put me under general anesthetic and wheeled me into theater so that the gyno can get this fucking thing out of me. I go to sleep and wake up an hour later to the knowledge that the cup is finally removed, 14 hours after I first entered A&E. I spent the rest of New Year's Day on the ward, stayed overnight for observation, and left this afternoon. I'm 20 pounds down, my New Year's whiskey languishes in my fridge, and I'm still on my period. I'm never putting anything up there again. Adenum. One of the docs in surgery asked if I wanted to keep the cup, and the answer was a very firm, no, please burn it. Too long did not read. Spent 20 pounds on a menstrual cup to be eco-friendly, ended up spending 12 hours in A&E and had to be anesthetized to have it removed. Spent New Year's Day sans whiskey in a hospital ward. That may be the worst period story I've heard all year. Here's to a better 2022. I'm 20 pounds down. Well, don't need the pound symbol to know that this overnight hospital stay and minor surgery is not in the US. Don't feel bad about being out $20. If you were in the States it would cost about $5,000 plus the $20 you lost. Look on the bright side. If you were in the United States you'd be $20,000 down. Menstrual cups scare the hell out of me for this reason. I have weak hands from muscular dystrophy and this is my personal nightmare. So glad they got it out of you, man. Happy 2022. Y'all know own bodies best, but let me say, I'm a cis woman with no issues with vaginal pain and using a cup has been honestly life-changing in a good way. If you don't struggle with vaginismus, don't let this freak you out bad enough to not try it. They don't carry as much of a risk of toxic shock syndrome as tampons do and most people find them comfortable after using them for a couple cycles. Totally your choice of course, but it has been a great change for me. Dang. I have vaginismus too and my first few periods with the cup were rough. I eventually figured it out after turning my bathroom into a murder scene multiple times lol. Sometimes it does come down on its own after it fills up more, but maybe the stress of the scary situation made everything tense up. Glad it worked out op, that's a hell of a story. I'm very sorry for the ordeal, pain, embarrassment, inconvenience, and horror. You deserve a holiday after this.